Hey guys, so I know it's a couple days probably overdue, but let's talk Friday Night Smackdown. So we start with Brock Lesnar making his return from his suspension. There was a huge pop when he came out, and it's kind of nice having him out there kind of talking for himself. He sounds much more confident. A couple of times before when he was with Paul, they would have him on the mic. He just didn't sound as confident as he does right now. So essentially, he came back to say he's there for one reason, and that's for the Universal Championship. Well, that brings Sami Zayn out, who is the number one contender. Now, time had not been set for Sami to challenge Roman, and Brock Lesnar talked Sami into challenging Roman that night. Now, one thing that WWE tells us through this show, through the end, and we'll get to that when we get to the end there, when we actually get to the main event match, it tells us a little bit about this thing that Brock still has for Roman Reigns. It took a little bit of arm twisting, but Brock got the job done. He convinced Sami to challenge Roman, and Sonya made that official. And then we end up with who comes? Then we have Sasha Banks taking on Shayna Baszler. This ended up with Sasha Banks coming out with the victory. It was a pretty decent match. There were several points where it really could have went either way, and both women looked very strong. I really would like to see Shayna get back in that main event picture. It would be something different. No offense to Sasha, she's a great competitor. She really is. But it would be nice to get a Shayna Baszler versus Charlotte Flair, if that's what we're going to end up getting. And I feel like that eventually is going to be what we end up getting. I feel like we will eventually see Toni Storm challenge Charlotte when probably day one, maybe. But I don't see Toni actually winning at that. So Shayna Baszler, I think, would be the next logical choice. With them giving the win to Sasha, who knows if they're moving towards a Sasha Banks Charlotte Flair feud again. That's old. It's been done. We're kind of over it, honestly. We then go backstage, and Sonya's on the phone with Adam Pearce. And she's just confirming to Adam that Brock is there, and he doesn't want to show up. He's very nervous and very scared still of Brock since he destroyed him. I don't remember how many weeks ago, but Sonya's trying to convince him to come in anyway, but he's pretty determined he's not going to. So then we have in the ring Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin with another edition of Happy Talk. This really isn't necessarily growing on me. The jokes, they're okay, but they're not great. So they're talking and through this Happy Talk segment, they're poking fun at Jeff Hardy and Drew McIntyre. I thought it was absolutely hilarious when both of them come down, and we end up getting, I don't know, no, we didn't actually get a tag match. They hit both Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin with their finishers, and I liked the touch of them taking their hats. Jeff Hardy and Drew looked good in Happy Corbin's hat and Madcap Moss's hat. They looked pretty nice. We definitely are not finished seeing them. We then did get another video package for Xia Li. I'm kind of excited to see her. I thought she did okay in NXT as she was coming along. I'm liking the promo work that they're doing for her leading up to her Smackdown debut, which they have set for next week. So that's exciting. We're going to finally get to see Xia Li, who they'll end up having her up against. I really am not sure. Sonya may throw her up against Naomi or maybe even Aaliyah, possibly. That's a possibility. But I guess we'll find that out next week. But I'm kind of excited to see what they end up doing with her. Too many times you get a character down in NXT that is so good that you're so invested in. They bring them to Raw or SmackDown, and it's totally not the same. And because of that, they don't connect to the audience, and the character just does not work. So hopefully with Xia Li, that doesn't happen. It's already going to be a little bit different, and they had to because they don't have that partner that she had down in NXT that really kind of made that NXT character kind of what it was. All right, then we had the Viking Raiders taking on Los Lotharios. Once again, Los Lotharios picked up the win there. I don't know how I feel about this. The Viking Raiders need to look stronger, and having them lose to these guys really isn't doing anything for them. It was nice to see them actually getting somewhat of their own theme song back, and you're getting that war or raid. It's getting people kind of hyped for their match. It's giving them something to kind of chant, and so Rick Boogs and Nakamura were at ringside. They were attempting to try to help the Viking Raiders. It ended up being more of a distraction, which is not what Nakamura and Boogs were intending. And the Raiders were not happy about this. The thing that some people have an issue with is you can see how upset they were, and yet as soon as Boogs started playing the Viking Raiders theme music, all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm not mad anymore. This really doesn't really upset me as much as I thought it might. I don't know. And maybe it's okay. I mean, I guess I could maybe see someone forgiving them, and it's not like Nakamura and Boogs have done anything else to really upset them, and it was pretty obvious that it was unintentional. So I guess it wasn't terrible. Then we went back to last week with Tony Storm getting hit in the pie with 2 pies, not just one. We had. She's intending to demand this championship match from Charlotte, and eventually Charlotte is going to come down to the ring, and she's going to be determined to not give her this match. Now, I'm getting kind of tired of Charlotte not defending her title, and I get that that's part of getting more heat on her as a heel character, and it's working. But, and maybe it's building up the suspense when we eventually do get this match. It's just kind of annoying. So when we get to that, when we actually get to where Charlotte comes out, you'll see what Tony's response was to last week. We then did get King Woods versus Jey Uso. Now, Jimmy Uso would be out at ringside, and both of the Usos thought that this was going to essentially be a 2-on-1 match. That Jimmy would be able to interfere behind the officials' eyes. Well, the thing is, they weren't counting on Kofi Kingston being back. Yes, Kofi has returned. So that was exciting to see Kofi at ringside by Woods' side. That was nice. So Woods goes to the top turnbuckle and he's about to fly when Jimmy knocks Woods off of it, and the referee sees him and figures out that there's been some interference. So he calls for the end of the match via disqualification. So this is definitely not going to be the end of this, and it was not. We then did, and I don't remember if this was on Talking Smack or later, but we did find out that at day one, the Usos were going to have to put their titles on the line against the New Day. So that's exciting. We'll see if the New Day is going to end up getting another title reign under their belts. Personally, these two tag teams are two of the best that they have. When they are in the ring together, they know each other so well. They really know what each other is going to do. They trust each other. So they can put on some really top-notch matches. So I'm kind of excited to see that match eventually here. We then have Charlotte Flair coming out, and she basically just came out to address the challenge by Tony, essentially getting right to the point and saying, no, I've considered it, and no. She goes to leave, and she's making a show of it as she's leaving, and so this is the part about this that bothers me. I love the fact that Charlotte got hit in the face with a pie. What I didn't necessarily like about it, maybe it was just the camera angle. You've got Tony standing there behind her, and it's pretty obvious that she's back there. And I don't know how Charlotte doesn't see that she's back there, because Tony isn't just standing there or trying to duck behind anything. She's like kind of running in place almost. Like she's getting anxious for Charlotte to turn at just the right angle for her to throw the pie. I thought it was kind of weird, but it works. I enjoyed seeing Charlotte getting hit in the face with a pie. We then saw Aaliyah backstage. She's walking with the New Day, basically congratulating them on being able to be there at the same time again that Kofi's back. So then that was when they found out that they would be getting that title opportunity at day one. Kayla lets them know that, so that's great. That should be a good match. So we then end up with match against Cesaro and Sheamus. These are former tag champions, so this was a decent match. It wasn't overly long, but it didn't necessarily really need to be. The important thing was that Sheamus had asked, and now his name is slipping. Now his name is slipping from my mind. But his new friend, Sheamus's new friend, was asked to stay back and just watch from the back. He didn't want him at ringside. In the end, Sheamus ends up hitting a bro kick. His bro kick, beating Cesaro. I don't know that Cesaro even got a swing in that match. That would have been nice to see for him to be able to get that in. So we're getting excited for the main event match. It doesn't happen yet. First, we have Naomi confronting Sonya. This has been a back and forth thing with them. Sonya's stating over and over again that she doesn't have any issues with Naomi. That she just hasn't felt like she's earned those opportunities that Naomi feels like she should just be given. And eventually, Naomi talks Sonya into saying, okay, right now I'm a WWE official. I've got my suit on, um, and she's Sonya's boss. At the end of the day, Sonya slaps her, but that's nothing new. We've seen Stephanie do that, I don't know how many times over the course of the years. But it has been made official that Sonya will get back into her ring gear, and she will take on Naomi next week. We will see if that really happens. We thought that we were getting that match a couple of months ago, maybe last month and a half, and we ended up getting Naomi versus Shayna Baszler instead, and that's okay. Then we get the main event match. We have Sami Zayn coming out, and he actually does come out with Lesnar. Um, they're in the ring, they're acting like best buddies, and Sami should know better. This is where WWE is trying to tell us something. Because when Brock Lesnar says that he came back solely for the Universal Championship, that's not solely true. Because if Brock Lesnar was solely back for the Universal Championship, he would have helped Sami win that match because he would have known it would be easier to take out Sami Zayn than it would Roman Reigns. So you would think if you know you've already been given a Universal Championship match at day one, you would try to help the one that you think you have a better chance at beating to actually win the match that night, right? No, instead, he hits Sami Zayn with 2 suplexes, or is it 3? 2 or 3 suplexes, German suplexes, and then he hits him with 2 F5s? Yeah, I think he hit him with 2 F5s. And then leaves him essentially helpless laying there in the ring. He then does go back, though, and he props him up in the corner. Roman comes out and one spear and 1, 2, 3, Sami's done. So what they're telling us is that it wasn't so much the Universal Championship Lesnar wants, it's the Universal Championship off of Roman Reigns specifically. He's not done with Roman Reigns. He wants to beat him for that championship. And that is why he made sure that Roman won that Universal Championship match on Friday night. So now we have the official match, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at day one. I don't hate this. Honestly, before, I didn't necessarily care for Brock's character as much. I kind of felt like he came around maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 times a year at best. And he would always win the championship, and there would always be, oh, he's been champion for a year, he's held the title for a year. Well, yeah, he's defended it a whole 3 or 4 times throughout this whole year. At only the major pay-per-views. Any other champion, you would have demanded that they defend their title more often than that. And that, more than anything, annoyed me with him. I just didn't feel like he had a true character before. And without Paul Heyman by his side, right now, he's doing so much better work that I actually look forward to seeing him on the show, where before I was just kind of like, nah, okay, great, Brock's going to be here. It means nothing to me. It does nothing for me. But I actually don't mind seeing this match now. I think it should be pretty good. And we'll see what happens with this. With Paul Heyman, once again, there at ringside. And with the last one, it came down to he threw that title into the ring and said, you guys fight over it. Whoever wants to use it behind the ref's back, you use it. I'm not going to make this decision. I'm not throwing them in there for either one of you in particular. I'm not taking sides. So we'll see if we get kind of that same scenario here, or if Paul Heyman really turns on Roman this time and begins to be that mouthpiece for Lesnar again. And that was Friday Night SmackDown, though. We will see you tomorrow when we'll discuss Monday Night Raw tonight. Thank you.